Officer Wayne Casey confronted Matthew Rankin for legally recording a traffic stop from 200 feet away. Casey falsely claimed it was illegal, demanded ID, and attempted to seize Rankin's phone before arresting him, an act that would later cost him his career.
You got the stuff right there? I'm gonna go over there and have a talk with right here.
Officer Wayne Casey became aggressive, ordering Matthew Rankin to stop recording. Ignoring Supreme Court rulings, he falsely claimed filming was illegal and threatened to seize the phone. His intimidation tactics, however, would soon backfire in ways he never expected.
No, it is. Do you realize you are in Missouri? It is now illegal to record the police officer. I can seize your phone right now. Listen, do you understand what I just said to you?
Despite legal precedent allowing citizens to film police, Officer Wayne Casey ignored it, demanding Rankin's ID. He falsely claimed Rankin was interfering, forcing him to stand by the patrol car. Unbeknownst to Casey, his own actions were being recorded, evidence that would soon work against him.
Stand right here in front of my patrol car.
Officer Wayne Casey's biggest mistake was illegally seizing Rankin's phone without a warrant, violating Supreme Court rulings. He dismissed Rankin's objections and tried to trap him with unrelated questions. Determined to assert control, Casey only escalated the situation, unknowingly digging himself deeper into legal trouble.
Right. Where's your vehicle at, bud? Here. Huh? Here. Where?
Frustrated and losing control, Officer Casey acted more like a child than a professional. He snapped at Rankin, demanding silence while contradicting himself. Using a drug dealer as an excuse, he tried to justify his actions. Ultimately, he wasn't interested in the law, only in asserting dominance.
I didn't make her do that. She did that all on her own.
I have nothing against what you did.
But you're out here trying to record us and trying to act like you know the law. What did I just say about interrupting me, bud? Am I letting you talk when you talk? Let me talk. Let me explain things.
Officer Casey's emotional instability made it clear he was unfit for duty. Frustrated, he lashed out, making wild accusations and paranoid claims about a flashing light. His lack of professionalism raised serious questions about how he was ever trusted to enforce the law.
You're over here trying to act like, you know, you're one of them guys that want to quote the laws to the cops and act like you know everything and act like all this. I committed federal felony. There's no such thing. You don't even know what you're talking about, bud.
Despite repeatedly violating Rankin's rights, Officer Casey remained arrogantly confident. He falsely claimed he could seize the phone and demanded compliance, unaware he was breaking the law. His intimidation tactics failed, yet he stubbornly continued, digging himself deeper into legal trouble.
I don't know what you're doing over here. That makes sense to you?
Oh, what you're saying makes sense.
It doesn't matter if you agree or not, okay? That's what you're doing.
Officer Casey relentlessly tried to intimidate Rankin, falsely claiming he was interfering. Ignoring the truth, he insisted on control, ordering Rankin to leave. His condescending tactics failed, unaware his reckless actions were being recorded, evidence that would soon lead to his downfall.
But that's what you were doing. No, it's not my opinion. That is, by statute, what you were doing. You took my attention off of my traffic stop. I now had to take my attention and turn it towards you.
Officer Casey's intimidation tactics only damaged public trust, yet he remained indifferent. Rankin stood his ground, citing Supreme Court rulings on unlawful detention. Desperate, Casey falsely claimed obstruction and made a ridiculous comparison, equating a recording phone to a sniper threat, exposing his abuse of power.
That's what you're failing to understand here, bud.
My reasonable opinion, I'll let you know, is that what you just did was illegal.
What?
I'm not going to do anything against you.
What was illegal?
When confronted with his mistakes, Officer Casey panicked, stumbling over his words in a desperate attempt to justify himself. He falsely claimed Rankin had a weapon, despite no evidence. Struggling to defend his actions, he only exposed his ignorance of the very rights he was meant to uphold.
But
Yeah,
guess what?
therefore, so I don't,
Isn't
listen,
this a constitutional carry state?
it doesn't matter. If you
So-
have a weapon
no,
pointed
I-
at me, that's not legal.
Just
That is not legal. If you have a weapon pointed at me, that is not legal.
Instead of making up fake threats, Officer Casey should have gotten glasses, so he'd stop mistaking phones for guns. He unlawfully seized Rankin's phone, then threatened him again. Desperate to assert control, he unknowingly handed Rankin all the evidence needed to hold him accountable.
I held on to your phone while I conducted our business. That has nothing to do. You could have turned around and walked away. You could have turned around and walked away.
I didn't give you ID.
Nope. You could have turned around and walked away.
Justice was served as Rankin won a $75,000 settlement for his unlawful detention and phone seizure. On May 8th, Officer Casey was fired, his abuse of power finally catching up with him. He lost everything: his case, his credibility, and ultimately his job. When a cop got schooled by a Navy officer, this motorist riding through Ramona, California, was not expecting an encounter with someone like this.
You can't be passing on the right like that, dude. You want to split lanes, but you can't pass on the right.
Does it say that in the statute?
Statute of what?
For lane splitting, lane sharing.
Yeah, you can't pass on the right, bro. It's
okay. Does it say that in this lane sharing statute?
I don't know what the lane sharing statute is.
So the rules governing.
There's not two lanes. So if there's two lanes, so let's just say.
What the motorist thought would be a routine interaction turned into a situation in which they had no idea what they were talking about. On that warm August afternoon, he was pulled over by a state trooper. The reason? You can't pass on the right. That sounds a little absurd, right? And so does the motorist. And he knew whatever he did aligned with the law. But the trooper, blind in his authority, wasn't backing down. But the motorcyclist was no ordinary rider. He had done his homework. Calmly, he pulled out his phone, and that's when things went south.
Hey, come here for a second. This is the DMV website. California law does not allow or prohibit motorcycles from passing other vehicles proceeding in the same direction within the same lane. Within the same lane. It has nothing to do with two lanes. I was within the same lane. Yeah, I wasn't past the white line.
All right, I'm not gonna argue, man. Can you read that again? I'm sorry.
Sure. Well, here, you read it right there. California law does not allow or prohibit, that means I'm allowed to do it, from passing other vehicles proceeding in the same direction within the same lane. A practice often called lane splitting, lane sharing, or filtering. Lane sharing.
He showed the officer the California DMV website, proving himself right. But instead of admitting his mistake, he doubled down. He demanded the rider's license and registration, but the trooper didn't know he was digging his pit.
Okay, what is your cause for pulling me over and asking for my information?
Man, unsafe passing within the lane, dude.
No, I'm just showing you the law.
Bro, listen to me. I'm not here to argue with you. I just need your license, registration, insurance, okay?
Okay, and I'm asking you for what purpose?
I just told you, because you're passing vehicles within the same lane on the right.
That's allowed.
Safe passing on the right. I'm not talking about lane splitting. You're not splitting lanes. You're passing vehicles on the right.
Okay, this literally just says lane sharing.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about splitting lanes on the right. You're not allowed to pass.
To ask me for that information, I have to have broken the law, correct?
Correct.
Okay, great, thank you, great. Okay, this is being recorded. So, if I have to provide you my information, I want to know what law I broke, because I clearly just showed to you. This is from the California DMV. Bro, you are misinterpreting and misunderstanding the law, man.
There's also a law that says you cannot pass unsafely on the right.
Okay, so I have this on tape. Show me where I passed unsafely.
I will. Let me see your license, registration, and...
So again, what law did I break?
Knowing the law well enough, he just stuck with one thing. If no law was broken, no ID was required, but that only grew the officer's frustration. And see what he did next.
You look it up. I got time. I'm my own boss, all right? Why don't you look it up, and if I broke the law, not your interpretation of it, if you need to get a sergeant or somebody else here, do so. I'll gladly hand you my information.
You're riding a motorcycle,
yep,
and you don't have a license in California.
Yep.
So is the vehicle going to get towed, or are you going to provide me with your information?
I'll tell you what, if you want to tow it, then we can end up in court. Okay. That's fine. Go for it. Get a supervisor here, get somebody else here. I'll call my lawyer. Right. Because you're not, you already know who I am. What information do you want? Well, hey,
all you do is show me your license, man.
No, I don't. I don't have to show you my license. What crime did I commit? What crime did I commit?
We're done here, brother.
Great. So 4 officers, all these resources for a crime that never got committed. And you learned something. Hey, man, you guys stay safe.
He called for backup because his ego wouldn't allow him to let this go. But when his sergeant finally arrived, the ruling was clear. No ticket, no violation, no authority to detain, so the trooper was just wasting his 30 minutes arguing a case that he lost already. 2 female officers responded to a break-in, but acted recklessly. A video captured their irresponsible behavior, including one saying, "You check, I check." Their actions raised concerns and later became key evidence against them. The female officer fired instantly upon seeing someone inside, causing chaos. Her reckless decision escalated the situation. As shots fired echoed through the house, the tension grew, setting the stage for serious consequences.
Shot fired, shot fired.
The person shot was a house guest who lost their key, not a criminal. The officer was placed on leave as an investigation began. Authorities reviewed footage and statements. Thankfully, the injured woman survived, but the officer faced serious consequences. A young attorney teaching a police officer.
No, I'll keep recording, thank you. It's my right. I will look. You're a police officer on duty. I can record you. And if you come to this side of the vehicle, I can keep recording you.
Turn it off.
I can keep recording you.
Turn it off and take it down.
For recording you, I'm sitting in my car holding my phone. What is the law? What are you arresting me for? I'm sitting here in my car. I'm just recording in case anything happens. I'm surrounded by 5 police officers.
You're being a jerk.
I'm scared right now. I'm not being a jerk. I'm recording it in case anything happens. I know my rights.
Hey, I hope so. I know what the law is.
I know the law. I'm an attorney, so I would hope I know the law.
And an Uber driver?
And here, man.
And an Uber driver.
You want my bar card?
Do police officers manage to lie just to make their job easy? Yes, it does happen when the common people are unaware of the laws that rule them. An attorney general, who is also an Uber driver, never thought that he would have to deal with an arrogant officer on that day. When the attorney started recording the incident, the cop became uncomfortable despite the recording being right of him. Things got even messier when the cop dared to call the attorney a jerk. A later realization was nothing helpful for the officer to escape from an internal investigation that cost him too much in his career. A First Amendment auditor peacefully advocated for homeless veterans outside Riviera Beach City Hall. Authorities falsely labeled his speech as solicitation and escalated the situation by calling the cops. Refusing to back down, he stood his ground, defending his constitutional rights.
I'm going to stand out here and spread this message of compassion and love for our homeless veterans. God bless the homeless veterans. And please pray for the homeless vets.
Security guards confronted the auditor, falsely claiming he needed to conduct business to be there. He asserted his right to free speech, but they stalled, waiting for backup. When questioned, they failed to provide a valid reason, exposing their lack of understanding of the law.
So, are you conducting any business here?
Like I explained to them, I am conducting business. I'm engaged in freedom of speech, freedom of religion on a traditional public forum, and I have just as much right to be here as anybody else.
The officer treated the peaceful auditor as a threat, calling for backup. She demanded ID without legal grounds, but he refused, knowing his rights. Frustrated, she shifted blame to his attitude. Mocking her demand, he exposed her lack of authority, leaving her speechless yet unwilling to back down.
Yes or no question, do you have ID?
Of course I have
Can I
it.
have it, please?
No. I'm engaged in constitutionally protected activity on a traditional public forum.
I didn't ask you anything else. I just asked you for
Okay, well, I'm just letting you know.
No.
Despite being proven wrong, the officers still tried to justify their actions, falsely claiming they needed ID to issue a trespass warning. The auditors stood firm, refusing to comply. Defeated, they left without admitting fault, exposing their ignorance and unprofessionalism in an unnecessary display of intimidation.
Just so you know, I would like to stay and enjoy my freedom of speech rights, but if they do say that I'm trespassing, you give me a trespass warning, I'll leave.
Defeated, the officers left in silence, unable to admit their mistake. They had no legal grounds to detain the auditor and had only wasted time harassing him. Of course, they had better things to do, like enjoying a donut break after failing to violate someone's rights.